The mainstream media, they have tried to convince us that Paige Bueckers is a draw. Me personally, I think she's a star, but I'm not exactly convinced that she is a draw.
Have you noticed how the media seems to be giving Paige Bueckers more attention than Caitlin Clark, even though the numbers tell a different story? Bueckers' WNBA draft night pulled in 1.3 million viewers. Clark's, just a year earlier, drew 2.6 million. That's double. Both athletes are incredibly skilled. Bueckers has championships, and Clark has record-breaking stats. But these viewership numbers highlight a deeper reality that challenges the media's current narrative.
She ain't on Caitlin Clark's level in terms of excitement or accomplishment. And I know they just won a national championship, but she played with two players that are either just as good, and Sarah Strong's probably better than her or will be better than her.
Let's take a closer look at what these ratings actually tell us. Why there's a disconnect between the media's story and what fans really care about. We'll break down the numbers to better understand the real trends behind the hype.
There are a lot of stars. There are very, very few draws.
This week's WNBA draft was a major event, and Paige Bueckers made headlines when she arrived with her girlfriend. Let's just say it quickly became a talking point.
This is probably the most horrible ran draft I've seen in sports history. Like, this was just terrible. The WNBA did a horrible job with this. From one, the marketing was terrible all the way up until the draft itself. It was just bad.
The numbers are out, and they reveal something the mainstream sports media isn't talking about. While some are calling Paige Bueckers' 1.3 million draft viewers a big win for women's basketball, there's an important reality being ignored.
Now, that number, it can be credited 100% to Paige Bueckers because every other player involved was completely unknown.
1.3 million viewers might sound impressive until you compare it to Caitlin Clark's 2.66 million last year. That's double the audience. The difference is hard to ignore.
Year, 2.45 million, peaked with 3.09 million, up 307% from the previous high back in 2004. You guys might be asking, what was the ratings back in 2004? A very curious bunch. I appreciate it. We all want to stay informed, me as well. 601,000 from 2004.
A 50% drop in viewership sends a clear message about who really draws attention to women's basketball. While the WNBA and ESPN have been promoting Paige Bueckers as the league's next big star, the numbers tell a different story. It's like having a doubleheader. Clark plays first, Bueckers second, and half the crowd leaves after Clark's game. Even during the draft broadcast, one reporter stumbled over players' names, a small but telling sign of the lower energy compared to last year's Clark-led event.
Here with Anissa and Rakia. No. And we are holding it down right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
It's okay.
Sorry. What?
Go ahead, say your name.
Cheyenne Zellers. I'm so sorry. That is embarrassing. Cheyenne, I apologize.
Even veteran broadcaster Tim Wilson weighed in off-air, saying, "I've never seen such a stark difference in energy from one draft to the next." He added, "This ratings drop should be a wake-up call for the WNBA. After Caitlin Clark's record-breaking season, filling arenas and drawing huge viewership, the big question now is that momentum fading now that she's no longer front and center?"
Why was last year's draft such a big deal? Well, Caitlin Clark was getting drafted. Reason number one, Caitlin Clark getting drafted. Reason number two, why it was such a big deal. Well, Caitlin Clark was going number one overall. And the third reason why, calling a spade here, these three women, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink. Perfect storm.
These numbers aren't just about bragging rights. In pro sports, TV ratings directly impact revenue. They affect ad prices, sponsorship deals, team values, and even player salaries. A 50% drop in viewership could cost the league millions.
Oh, it's down 49%. 49% of the audience said, yeah, I'll go watch paint dry instead. In fact, some people, Jason Whitlock, he didn't even realize the WNBA draft took place the other night. He found that out the next morning, that Paige Bueckers and the WNBA draft had actually taken place.
What really stands out is how much the league and ESPN invested in promoting Paige Bueckers. For weeks leading up to the draft, there were features, interviews, and non-stop coverage painting her as the next big star in women's basketball. But despite all that media push, the audience just didn't respond with the same excitement they showed for Caitlin Clark.
They've been on a campaign for the last 3 years to argue that Paige Bueckers, the UConn star, is actually better than Caitlin Clark.
The reaction on social media says it all. Fans quickly saw what the numbers reveal. Caitlin Clark remains the biggest draw in women's basketball by a wide margin. This ratings gap raises serious questions about the WNBA's strategy. Can they maintain Clark's momentum if she's not the main focus? Will the financial gains from last year's Clark-driven hype fade with falling viewership? Most importantly, the league might be overlooking what fans truly want. Despite all the hype around Paige Bueckers, these numbers show Clark already holds the title of women's basketball's biggest star, and by a significant margin.
Whether or not Paige Bueckers is a star or a draw, that remains to be seen. Judging by the ratings for the Dump Diver draft the other night, Paige Bueckers is not a mainstream draw.
When comparing these two stars, one question often gets overlooked. What's more impressive, winning a championship or completely rewriting the NCAA record books? The media tends to highlight Paige Bueckers' title, but Caitlin Clark's statistical dominance is on another level. Clark shattered records that had stood for 50 years and achieved feats no player, male or female, had ever pulled off.
Caitlin Clark now has 3,528 points in her career. She has officially broken Kelsey Plo's record from 2017.
Yes, Paige Bueckers has that championship trophy, and she deserves credit for leading UConn to the title. But Caitlin Clark made history by becoming the all-time NCAA scoring leader, breaking a 50-year-old record that had stood for half a century. And this is just the start for Clark. She led the nation in both scoring and assists multiple times, an achievement almost no player in NCAA history has matched. It's the ultimate paradox in basketball, being both the top scorer and the top playmaker. Think of it as blending Michael Jordan's scoring ability with Magic Johnson's court vision.
I've seen Paige Bueckers across social media for the last 5 years, it feels like. She's an elite female college basketball player. Had some knee injuries that she's rebounded from, but she's healthy right now. So she kind of sits behind Caitlin Clark. And I think that makes her a fade for me because I think the Caitlin Clark shadow is real. I think Caitlin Clark is so dominant and changing the game.
When we compare their final season stats, the difference is clear. Caitlin Clark averaged 31.6 points, 8.9 assists, and 7.4 rebounds per game, just shy of a triple-double. Paige Bueckers, while impressive, finished with 21.9 points, 3.8 assists, and 5.2 rebounds. The gap is undeniable. Clark scored nearly 10 more points per game, more than double Bueckers' assists, and also grabbed more rebounds. The media's emphasis on Bueckers' championship while downplaying Clark's statistical dominance creates an unbalanced way of evaluating these athletes. While Bueckers' title is a major achievement, Clark's record-breaking career has transformed the entire landscape of women's basketball.
That the media has been overwhelmingly positive in their coverage of Paige Bueckers.
Caitlin Clark didn't just put up impressive numbers. She turned regular season games into must-watch events, filling arenas and bringing women's basketball into the mainstream spotlight. Her influence went well beyond her stats. She reshaped the visibility and popularity of the sport in real time. What makes her accomplishments even more remarkable is that she achieved all of this while facing defenses designed specifically to shut her down. Every opponent knew Clark would be the focal point, yet they still couldn't stop her from dominating.
The media is fine with Paige being the face of the WNBA because she's already proven to be a loyal comrade. They can depend on her, maybe even control her. They can't do that with Caitlin Clark either because she is unwilling or she's realized that she does not need the media to be a mainstream draw. I think this WNBA season is going to be dominated by this media-created rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.